So far we've talked about, in our exploration of going from minor to major in the blues and getting those major sounds, we've talked about targeting the third of the one chord, and we also talked about the dominant pentatonic scale a little bit. We talked about targeting the third of the four chord, and again we talked about the dominant pentatonic scale or the minor pentatonic scale with the added sixth. And now I want to talk about targeting the five chord. Now the five chord is a little bit different. Before we get into that, what I want to say first of all, one of the great things about the blues, if you want to, you can just play blues. You can just take the old blues scale and have at it. And the reason that it works so well is because there are plenty of chord tones from each chord in the pentatonic scale. So I can play over the one chord, I've got the G, which is the root of the chord, the D, which is the fifth, and the F, which is the flatted seventh. Over the four chord, I've got the C, which is the root, the G, which is the fifth, the B flat, which is the flatted seventh. So I got three chord tones from each of those chords in the pentatonic scale. And when I go to the five chord, I've got the D, which is the root of the chord, and I've got the C, which is the flat seven. Now, that's why when you target the thirds, they work so well, because they're not contained in the pentatonic scale at all. The third of the one chord is the B, which we talked about, and then the third of the four chord is the E, which we talked about. Now the third of the five chord is the F sharp, which is here at the second fret on the first string. And again, I'm talking about in relationship to box one of the pentatonic scale. Of course, if we're in other areas of the fretboard, these things are going to be located in different places. So we've got the F sharp here in the second fret, and if I really want to, I can stretch out and I can catch it out here on the seventh fret on the second string. And it's also located on the fourth string, fourth fret, and it's also located down here on the sixth string in the second fret. So there's our two octave span there. Now, it works well just to target the third, but the five chord is a little bit of a different animal because of the, I guess, the fact that there's only two chord tones from the pentatonic scale in the five chord as opposed to three with the other chords. So it's kind of tough to be targeting the third. In other words, I'm playing along here. Now, as soon as I hit that F sharp, it's going to be pretty apparent that I'm going to the five chord. But where do I go from there? Do I jump back into the pentatonic scale? You know, to me that doesn't really, it's certainly a possibility, and if you want to just go back to playing some blues at that point, it's something you can do. But to me, in my ear, it really just doesn't still grab my attention. It just doesn't keep hold of the fact that I'm on the five chord. So what do? Well, you gotta look at some other things that you can do on the five chord. And one of the simplest places to start is with a simple D7 arpeggio. So if you think of the D7 chord shape here, you can see we've got the D, the F sharp, the C, and the D up here again. So if you can just visualize this chord, that will help you play the arpeggio for the five chord. You can also think of a D chord back here in open position, and all those notes that kind of come into play. Again, these are just visual aids to help you see the arpeggio. So I'm going to give you the arpeggio here. So it's I'm going to start from the root of the chord and play up, and then come back down, catch the lower notes, and then come back up to the root of the chord again. So we got the D, which is at the fifth fret on the fifth string. We got F sharp, fourth fret, fourth string. We got A, which is on the third string, second fret. We got C, which is on the third string, fifth fret. Here's D again on the second string, third fret. F sharp on the first string, second fret. And here's A up here on the first string, fifth fret. Coming back down again to the F sharp, second fret, first string. To the D, second string, third fret. C, third string, fifth fret. The A, third string, second fret. The F sharp, fourth string, fourth fret. The D, fifth string, fifth fret. Now here's the C down here again in a lower octave on the third fret, fifth string. And the A down here on the sixth string, fifth fret. And then the F sharp on the second string, sixth fret, back up to the A. And then the C again, and finally ending on the D. So here's the whole thing. helps me really kind of hone in on the tonal center or the chord that I'm playing on. So what I want you to do for this lesson is memorize this fingering of the D7 chord. And we're going to talk more about applying this chord, and we'll do some backing track stuff like we've done with the other chords, but again, you know, in steps. So once again, the step today is to just simply memorize that D7 arpeggio. Do pay particular attention to the thirds. The F sharp down here on the 6th fret, or 6th string 2nd fret, and 1st string 2nd fret, and the F sharp right here on the 4th string 4th fret, because we're still going to be targeting those thirds when we make our move from the 1 chord to the 5 chord, and it'll still draw us into that 5 chord powerfully, but then instead of staying in pentatonic, we're going to go on and utilize the arpeggio some. So get your memorization thing happening, learn the D7 arpeggio, and I'll see you the next time around.